Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of this reading of the book called Don't Believe Everything You Think. If you have not checked out part 1, I will have it linked down below. I'm gonna keep the intro short, but please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Chapter 2: The Root Cause of Suffering. One who looks around him is intelligent. One who looks within him is wise. Machona del Whale. We live in a world of thought, not reality. Sydney Banks once said, "Thought is not reality, yet it is through thought that our realities are created." Each of us lives through our own perceptions of the world, which are vastly different from one person right next to us. An example of this is that you could be sitting in a coffee shop having a quarter-life existential crisis, completely stressed out of your mind about how you have no idea what you're doing with your life when it seems like everyone else has theirs together, while the person next to you is simply happily enjoying their freshly brewed drink while peacefully people watching. You are both in the same coffee shop, smelling the same aroma and surrounded by the same strangers. But how the world looks to both of you couldn't be more different. Many of us go through the same events or in the exact location. At the same time, yet are having completely different experiences of the world. Here's another example of how we live in a world of thought and not reality. If you walk up to 100 different people and ask each of them what money means to them, how many different answers do you think you'll get? Close to 100 different answers. Money is technically the same thing, but it means something different to each person. Money could mean time, freedom, opportunity, security, and a peace of mind, or it could mean evil, greed, and the reason why people commit crimes. For now, I'm not going to get into which one is right or wrong. Hint, there is no right or wrong answer, but that's for a different chapter. Another illustration of this concept is as follows. If you survey 100 different people and ask each of them what they think of our current president, how many different answers do you think you'll get? Even though it is the same person we're talking about, we will get 100 different answers because most people live in their own thoughts and perceptions of the world. The meaning or thinking we give an event determines how we ultimately feel about it. The meaning or thinking is the filter through which we see life from then on. Because of this, we live through a perception of reality, not in reality itself. Reality is that the event happened with no meaning, thinking, or perception of it. Any meaning or thinking we give the event is on us. That is how our perception of reality is created. This is how our experience of life is created from the inside out. It's not about the events that happen in our lives, but our interpretation of them, which causes us to feel good or bad about something. This is how people in third world countries can be happier than people in first world countries, and the people in first world countries could be more miserable than people in third world countries. Our feelings do not come from external events, but from our own thinking about the events. Therefore, we can only ever feel what we are thinking. Let's hypothetically say that you can really hate your job and it causes you an enormous amount of stress, anxiety, and frustration. It pains you even to set foot in the building where you work, and just thinking about your job makes you furious. When you're thinking about your job, you're just sitting on a sofa with your family watching a TV show together, but you are fuming at the thought of your job. Everyone else is having a good time except you. At this moment, everyone else in your family is having a different experience of life than you, even though the same event is happening. Just the thought of work created a different perception of reality, even though you're not physically at work. If it is true that external events cause us to feel the way we feel inside, then you should be a happy camper in your living room, watching a funny TV show with your family every single time you do this activity, but that's not the case. Now, you may be saying that you're only feeling this way because of an external event your job is causing you to feel stressed and anxious. To that, I'll ask the question, is it absolutely true that every single person feels the exact same way about the job they're working in? Two different people can be doing the same job but will have completely different experiences. It can be the most amazing experience and a dream job for one person, but the other person's worst nightmare and living hell. The only difference between one person and the other is how they think about their job, which determines how they ultimately feel about it. Let's return to your original scenario of hypothetically hating your job. Remember how much stress, anxiety, and frustration it causes you when you think about it. Take 1 minute to see what comes up for you, and don't move on until you do that. If you don't overthink it and truly let the answer surface from within you without that thought, you will most likely feel happy, peaceful, free, and light. Without our usual thinking about a particular event or thing, our experience of it completely alters. This is how we live in a world of thought, not reality, and how our perception of reality is created from the inside out through our own thinking. With this new understanding, you've just uncovered the cause of all our human psychological suffering. The root cause of our suffering is our own thinking. Before you throw this book across the room and light it up on fire, I'm not saying that this is all in our heads and it isn't real. Our perception of reality is very real. We will feel what we think, and our feelings are real. This is completely undeniable. However, our thinking will look like an inevitable, unchangeable reality until we begin seeing how our reality is created. If we think that we can only ever feel what we are thinking, then we can change our feelings by changing our thinking. Thus, we can change our experience of life by knowing that it comes from our own thinking. And if that it is true, then we are ever only one thought away from experiencing something different and transforming our entire lives at any moment through a state of no thought. In short, the moment we stop thinking is when our happiness begins. A young monk and the empty boat, a Zen story about how thinking is the cause of our own suffering. A long time ago, a young Zen monk lived in a small monastery in a forest near a small lake. A few senior monks occupied the monastery, while the rest were newcomers and still had much to learn. The monks had many obligations in the monastery, but one of the most important ones was their daily routine, where they had to sit down, close their eyes, and meditate in silence for hours at a time. After each meditation, they had to report their progress to their mentor. The young monk had difficulty staying focused during his meditation practice for various reasons, which made him very mad. After the young monk reported his progress to his mentor, the elder monk asked him a simple question with a hidden lesson. "Do you know what is really making you angry?" The young monk replied. "Well, usually as soon as I close my eyes and meditate, someone is moving around and I can't focus. I get agitated that someone is disturbing me even though they know that I am meditating. How can they not be more considerate? And then when I close my eyes again and try to focus, a cat or a small animal might brush past and disturb me again. By this point, even when the wind blows and the tree branches make noise, I get angry. If that is not enough, the birds keep on chirping and I can't seem to find any peace in this place." The elder monk simply pointed out to his pupil, "I see that you become angrier with each interruption you encounter. This is exactly the opposite of what the point of your task is when meditating. You should find a way not to get angry with people, animals, or anything around you that disturbs you during your task." After their consultation, the young monk went out of the monastery and looked around to find a place that would be quieter so that he could meditate peacefully. He found such a place at the shore of the lake that is nearby. He brought his mat, sat down, and started meditating. But soon a flock of birds splashed down in the lake near where the monk was meditating. Hearing their noise, the monk opened his eyes to see what was happening. Although the bank of the lake was quieter than the monastery, things would still disturb his peace, and he got angry again. Even though he didn't find the peace he was looking for, he kept returning to the lake. And one day, the monk saw a boat tied at the end of a small pier, and right then an idea hit him. Why don't I take the boat, row it down to the middle of the lake, and meditate there? In the middle of the lake, there was nothing to disturb me. He rowed the boat to the middle of the lake and started meditating. As he had expected, there was nothing in the middle of the lake to disturb him, and he was able to meditate the whole day. At the end of the day, he returned to the monastery. This continued for a few days, and the monk was thrilled that he had finally found a place to meditate in peace. He didn't feel angry and could calmly continue the meditation practice. Third day, the monk sat in the boat, rowed to the middle of the lake, and started meditating again. A few moments later, he heard water splashing and felt the boat was rocking. He started getting upset that even in the middle of the lake, someone or something was disturbing him. Opening his eyes, he saw a boat heading straight towards him. He shouted, "Steer your boat away or you will hit my boat." But the other boat kept coming directly at him and was just a few feet away. He yelled again, but nothing changed until the incoming boat hit the monk's boat. Now he was furious. He screamed, "Who are you and why have you hit my boat in the middle of this vast lake?" There was no answer. This made the young monk even angrier. He stood up to see who was in the boat, and to his surprise, he found no one in the boat. The boat had probably drifted along in the breeze and had bumped into the monk's boat. The monk found his anger dissipating. It was just an empty boat. There was no one to get angry at. At that moment, he remembered his mentor's question, "Do you know what is really making you angry?" And then wondered, "It's not other people's situations or circumstances. It's not the empty boat, but my reaction to it that causes my anger. All the people or situations that make me upset and angry are like the empty boat. They don't have the power to make me angry without my own reaction." The monk then rowed the boat back to the shore. He returned to the monastery and started meditating along with the other monks. There were still noises and disturbances, but the monk treated them as the empty boat and continued meditating peacefully. When the elder monk saw the difference, he said to the young monk, "I see that you have found what is really making you angry and overcame that." Okay guys, that was chapter 2. I hope you stay tuned for next week's chapter. And I hope you guys are able to rest wherever you guys are in the world. Thank you guys so much for watching.